Reading is dreaming. Reading is entering a world of imagination shared between reader and author. Reading is getting beyond the words to the story or meaning underneath. Okay, guys, with this little anchor chart, I wanted to talk to you about what it means. And on it, it says create mental visualizations based on text details. It says interpret figurative language. And it says visualize the text details moving / changing while reading. So the first thing, create mental visualizations based on text details. You are reading the details of the story, and you are going into your knowledge backpack, and you are thinking about what you know about those details and what they mean to you, and you're putting it together in your mind, and you're imagining what something looks like. And to interpret figurative language, well, that's just, you're reading language that's it's metaphors and similes and things of that nature, and you're figuring out what it means. For instance, in the book that I'm reading during this video, he talks about eating like a hungry dog. Yeah, well, obviously he's not really a dog. He's eating like a hungry dog. What does that mean if somebody eats like a hungry dog? They're right? And then there's visualize the text details moving / changing while reading. So for instance, in this book, the text details move and change when the boy starts off riding on the streets at home, or he's leaving the driveway at home, turns a couple streets, stops at certain locations as he's on his way to his grandma's, and then he stops at his grandma's. So constantly, it's like a movie, they're following the boy while he's riding on his bike. You're thinking about all those details changing as you are reading. Hello, class. What do you think about my new cool sunglasses? I know you're probably wondering, what are you doing, Mr. Royans? And I am wearing these shades with paper over them because I'm just using my imagination to visualize things. I was reading a book, and I was using the power of imagination to bring the words to life, to see the pictures the words are painting. Put my real glasses on. Much better. I can see. Guys, that's a visual for what we're going to talk about today in reading. And today, we're going to talk about visualizing as you read. And take a minute, pause the video if you want, and what do I mean when I say visualize as you read? No, go ahead. I will pause what I'm saying right here. No, but seriously, a lot of books do not have pictures. And that's just the way it is. As you get older and older, there's less picture books. So you have to use the power of your mind, your big, beautiful brain, to interpret what the words mean and bring to life the picture that those words are painting. You have to use your thinking voice. You are using your reading voice to read the words. The words go into your brain, and then you use your thinking voice to paint the picture, to bring to life what it is the author is trying to say to you. And the beauty of it is, truly, there is no real wrong way to imagine what something may look like. You get a description. You're reading a book. Oh, the boy had freckles and red hair, and he was wearing a white T-shirt. It conjures up an image in your head. Now, what the boy may look like, complete feature-wise, you don't know. You know he's got. I can picture a freckled and red-haired boy, like on the cover of the book. Or he's not got red hair, but blonde hair. So today, I'm going to read Saturdays and Tea Cakes. And you're going to use visualization to think about the you're going to use your imagination. You're going to see the images in your head. You see the images when you're reading. You see it in your imagination. And that's why the anchor chart or the image I sent you has the girl and she's got the cloud. She's got the cloud, cartoon cloud above her head because she's reading. She's got her glasses on, her blinders on, like I had my sunglasses on. But she can see in her mind. You don't have to see with your eyes, you see with your mind. And you create the mental illustrations using your thinking voice. You do not see the pictures literally. These visualizations are created in your mind's eyes. As these ideas come forward in the text, you adjust your mental image. So it's like one big movie running in your head over and over and over again. For example, I've started reading the classic Moby Dick. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It's a book about whaling, I guess, easiest way to say it. And there is one character, and his name is Captain Ahab. And they give this description of the man as just the sternest scar running down his face. He's got he's missing a leg. He's got a whalebone for a leg, or a peg leg, because this takes place in the 1800s. And I've seen various pictures of Captain Ahab in like movies over the years, or just random things that I've seen. But I'm reading it for the first time, and I'm for the first time picturing what I think Captain Ahab looks like based on the physical description in the book, the description in the book. So what I want you to do is I want you to use your imagination. I'm not going to show you the pictures in here. I'm just going to read it, and I want you to imagine. And then you're going to respond to the assignment based on this. And I'll be honest, my first thing that I imagine I see the word tea cake. I don't know what a tea cake is. So I use my thinking voice and I go, well, I know what it is now after reading this book. I've read it a couple times. But when I first saw it, I was like, what's a tea cake? I have never. And I like cakes and I like tea. So I imagine it's a pretty good pastry. And based on the reading in the book, I'm sure it's delicious. So I want you to, maybe while I'm reading, close your eyes. And I know you've read this book for one of our other assignments for writing. For the 6 traits of writing, we had ideas. Remember, he uses good ideas. And one of the things that you need to pay attention to is the figurative language. Figurative language is something that is used one way, but it describes something else. So like tears ran down his cheek like a river. Obviously it's not really a river running down his cheek, but the tears are so wet it's like a river. Figurative language like that, you need to pay attention to those metaphors and those similes. These are things we'll talk about much later in the year. We're going to visualize the text details. They move and change while we're reading. So for one second the boy will be on his bike. You picture a boy riding on his bike. And then next he's at his grandma's house helping her do work. And you stop and think about that, go, oh, okay. And you create mental visualizations based on these text details. That's why I've chosen a theater for the background here on the green screen. Because it's a theater in your mind. It's a constant movie playing over and over and over. That's the beauty of books, guys. That's why I put that quote at the beginning of this video. The beauty of a book is it's just a continuous movie playing in your head. And, let's be honest. How many times have you heard the book is always better than the movie? The book is always better than the movie. The rare exception may be I don't know. I can't think of any movies that are better than the book. The Harry Potter movies are good, but not as good as the books. Comic book movies are pretty good, not as good as the comic books. Okay, so close your eyes and just listen to me read and try to imagine. Because I'm not going to show you the pictures. You can see the cover, the boy eating tea cakes. But imagine what it is what's happening in the story as I just read it to you, because he uses great details and he describes everything wonderfully. Saturdays and Tea Cakes by Lester Lamineck. When I was 9 or 10 years old, I couldn't wait for Saturdays. Every Saturday I got up early, dressed, and rolled my bicycle out of the garage. I think back, in my mind, I just think about going back to when I was a kid and waking up early and riding bikes to my friend's house. Every Saturday I coasted down our long, steep drive, slowing only enough to make the turn onto Thompson Street, then left onto Bell's Mill Road. Pedal, 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 past Mrs. Cofield's house. Pedal, 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 around the horse pasture and up the hill past the cemetery where my grandfather was buried. Pedal, 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 past Mrs. Grace Owens' house and up to Chandler's Phillips 66. I had another page, guys. The words, the description. I coasted down our long, steep drive. I turned onto Thompson Street, left onto Bell Mill Road. Pedal, pedal, pedal past somebody's house. Pedal, pedal, pedal to the gas station. Every Saturday I coasted over the black hose by the gas pumps just to make the bell ring. Then I dropped my kickstand to check the air in my tires. I stopped at Chandler's for another reason, too. That's where I crossed the highway that ran right through the center of our town. My mother always said, "You stop and you look both ways when you get to Chandler's. I don't care if the light is green. I'll hear about it if you don't." And I knew she would, too. In our little town, everyone knew everybody and told everything to anyone who would listen. So I always looked both ways. Pedal, pedal, pedal across Ross Street, then left for a slow coast down behind the Bank of Heflin, where I turned right onto Bedwell and whoosh, I zoomed downhill as fast as I dared. Pedal, 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 up the next hill and left onto Almond Street. It was a long stretch to Mr. White's. I always stopped there to catch my breath in the shade of the old oak tree. One more small hill, pedal, 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 and then a right onto Gaither Street. Now I could see my grandmother's drive. Yeah, I stop and I visualize, I use my thinking voice. I imagine this boy just pedaling up a hill, and I'm using my background knowledge. I'm activating my knowledge backpack, thinking to myself, oh yeah, I know what it's like to pedal up a hill. Gosh. 1, 2, 3, 4 driveways and one last turn to the left. This was where my tires gave up their humming on pavement and began the crunching of gravel. Just before reaching Mama's back porch, I slammed on my brakes, sending a shower of tiny pebbles into her flowers. Every Saturday, Mama was there, sitting on her old metal glider, crick, crack, sipping a cup of Red Diamond coffee and waiting. She was waiting for me. No one else, just me. I just think of all the times I've had coffee with my grandma, and the details here, a specific cup of coffee, just it adds to the flavor and the image in my head. I'm picturing what Red Diamond coffee is like. I bet it's good. Every Saturday, Mama called out, Come on into this house. Let's have a bite to eat." In Mama's big kitchen, sunlight poured through the windows like a waterfall and spilled over the countertops, pooling up on the checkerboard floor. Every Saturday, she had hot biscuits, sweet butter, and Golden Eagle syrup waiting on the kitchen table. Every Saturday, she poured a little coffee in my cup and filled the rest with milk and 2 spoonfuls of sugar. Then before long, Mama said, "We best clear these dishes away and get at that yard before it gets too hot." I followed her out to the back porch. "Let me put a little water on these ferns," she said. "You go on ahead to the car house." That's what Mama called the garage. "I'll be out directly." By the time I pulled the old lawnmower from the garage, Mama was already in the garden picking plump, ripe tomatoes for our lunch. Every Saturday I pulled the starter rope again and again while the mower sputtered and spit. Finally that old mower started and I struggled to push it through the dew-wet grass, leaving row after row of fresh stripes on the lawn. From time to time the mower choked on mouthfuls of wet grass that clung to the blades and to my bare legs. But by early afternoon the dew pearls were gone, the grass was mowed and dry, and I was soaked with sweat. Every Saturday I pushed the mower back into the garage, trudged to the back porch, and flopped onto that old glider. Creak, crack, creak, crack. I stop and think about, activate my knowledge backpack, even at my age of 38, ripe old age of 38. I think about how hot it is to mow the lawn and how sweaty I get. And I think of this boy in the 50s and he's pushing his, mower. And And just in my head, guys, the visual theater, the visualization, I just visualize, you know. Mamaw soon appeared with a tall glass of sweet iced tea. You just cool off and rest a spell. I'm going to make us a bite to eat. Before long, she came back with 2 big tomato sandwiches on hamburger buns. Every Saturday, I gobbled mine down like a hungry dog, but she nibbled at hers like a bird. Now, them's some good tomatoes, she said. I know how you like a good tomato sandwich. Don't they taste a whole heap better when you've just picked them? We sat there a while, listening to the calls of blue jays and the rhythm of that old glider. Then Mamaw looked at me sort of sideways and said, I reckon I know a boy who'd like something sweet to eat. And I grinned. Yes, ma'am, I reckon you do. So I want you to go back and I want you to look at that anchor chart that I've sent you guys with the girl with her visualization cloud. And one of the things on there is interpreting figurative language. Now, earlier in the video, I had said, cried tears like a river. I mean, it's not a literal river, but water. You can imagine what a river is like, and the tears coming down cheeks. It's flowing fast, right? You've got a lot of tears coming. You're wet. And think about the figurative language on this specific page. And the boy's talking about eating sandwiches with his grandma. And he stops. He says, every Saturday I gobbled mine down like a hungry dog. Well, what is a hungry dog like when they're eating their food? So he's like a hungry dog. He's not literally eating but he's eating fast. He's eating, it's a good tomato sandwich. But then Grandma, he says, or Mama, excuse me, every Saturday I gobbled mine down like a hungry dog, but she nibbled at hers like a bird. Have you guys seen birds eat on feeders and things? They just kind of take small pecks, small bites. So that's what figurative language is, and that's metaphors and similes and those sort of things, but it's something to think about, because the boy's clearly not really a dog, but he's eating like a hungry dog. And it's that rich language that helps you visualize what it is you're reading, that helps the movie in your head play. Let's go on, shall we? Come on then, Mamaw said, heading toward the door. Let's get in this kitchen and see if we can't make us a mess. Every Saturday she spread a cloth over the red countertop and scattered a fistful of flour across it, sending a cloud into the air. Then she set out a big bowl. Mamaw dipped a china teacup into the canister of flour, scooped out a cupful and skimmed over the top with her finger. Then she dumped the flour into the bowl and added sugar from her black cookie jar. She let the mixture drift through her hands like I sifted sand at the beach. When it felt right, Mamaw said, look in the Frigidaire. That's what she called her refrigerator. And find me 2 sticks of blue bonnet. Once again, guys, that figurative language. She let the mixture drift through her hands like I sifted sand at the beach. Like picking up sand at the beach falling through. That's what she's doing with the flour and the sugar mixture. And the specific details, blue bonnet. I use blue bonnet at home. So to see it in here, it's like, oh, I know what that looks like. I could go to the fridge and get blue bonnet out just like he could. I pulled open the refrigerator and got out the margarine. I unwrapped the sticks and dropped them into the bowl. I mixed and mashed until the ingredients disappeared into a paste. It was smooth and pale yellow and smelled like fresh cotton candy at the county fair. Mamaw pinched off a little to taste. I expect we need a bit more sugar in this. She sprinkled sugar until the dough tasted just the way she thought it ought to. Now get me 3 eggs, she said. I tapped the first egg too hard, making it splatter onto the counter and down the outside of the bowl. I reckon we can call that half an egg, Mamaw said. Here, let me show you how to do it. Just tap them easy like and pull the shell apart over the bowl, like this. Now you do the next one. And I think about all the times I've messed up opening an egg. And just picture, I can just, in my mind, just making a mess. It was hard work blending those eggs into the mix with a long wooden spoon. Mamaw pinched another taste. My goodness, buddy, we didn't put no vanilla in here. Reach up in that cabinet and get me down the bottle of vanilla flavor. When the dough tasted just right, Mamaw rolled it out onto the flour-dusted cloth. Then I cut out the tea cakes with the rim of an old tin can. We carefully lifted the circles onto a cookie sheet and put them in the oven to bake. 375 degrees for 15 minutes. Those 15 minutes seemed to last forever. Are they ready, Mamaw? Not yet, buddy. Are they ready now, Mamaw? Not yet, buddy. Let's give them a little bit longer. Are they ready yet, Mamaw? I reckon they might be. And that's that fluency right there, guys, where the little boy's talking and are they ready now, Mama? You know, you hear how my voice changes when he's asking that question. She opened the oven door, and the kitchen filled with a smell sweeter than summer gardenias, the smell of tea cakes. Every Saturday, I reached for one still steaming on the baking sheet. You better wait, buddy. They're going to be mighty hot just yet. We waited until the tea cakes were cool enough to lift from the baking sheet. Then we set them off on a plate. Every Saturday, I ate one, and then another, and then I looked at Mamaw. Is that all you want, buddy? You be sure to eat all you want. We made them tea cakes just for you. When I had eaten all I could, she set off a few on a saucer for herself and put the rest in a big sheet of aluminum foil. She folded the edges into a little handle at the top. Now you put these there in your bicycle basket so you won't forget them. I just imagine how many I would eat because I love pastries and baked goods. Oh. I made brownies the other day at home and I have to force myself to stop eating those. Every Saturday, as I pedaled over the gravel again and out Mamaw's drive, I glanced back over my shoulder. Every Saturday, Mamaw was there, sitting on her old metal glider and waving. She was waving to me. No one else. Just me. Don't worry, Mamaw. I won't ever forget. That's a beautiful story. You know, I don't know how many of you are close with your grandma, or if some of us don't have grandmas. But my grandma and I, one of my grandmas has passed away. She passed away a long time ago. And I was close to her. She was kind of like that Mama. She made good Southern food. And we would always go over there and eat her delicious food. She would cook it and show us how to cook it. And her recipes to this day are still, like, we make fried apple pies like Grandma Kavanaugh used to make. And my other grandma who's still living, my Grandma Royans, we're all very close to. I go over and drink coffee with her all the time, talk to her. She was a librarian for many years. So I activate that background knowledge from my knowledge backpack about interacting with a grandma and what that's like. And I put it together and I visualize in my story what the grandma looks like, what the boy is looking like, and all those details provided by Mr. Lamineck. They just paint a beautiful picture in my mind. I don't even need to read. I don't need to look at the pictures in this book. And I hope you didn't need to either while you were listening to me read, because just based on what the details and what was read, I'm able to put it together. Okay, so there's instructions for a reading response I want you to do. Please follow along. Please do that. And have a good day, guys.